Young chop on the beat.
Here's a little story I'd like to tell about the land that we love and know so well. It started small, not much to boast, just 13 colonies on the East Coast. As time went by, Europeans moved west and took native land, calling it conquest. What they do it? It's easy to see, an idea called manifest destiny. Georgia, 1828, the Cherokee Nation was the center of debate. They did their best to assimilate, but their land was some prime-time real estate. So Andrew Jackson laid the feud to rest and forced them to leave in the name of progress. Over 15,000 faced their fears and what later became known as the Trail of Tears. Alabama, no we don't stop. Mississippi, no we don't stop. Arkansas, no we don't stop. Man, there's women and children dying and make it stop. Illinois, no we don't stop. Missouri, no we don't stop. Oklahoma, no we don't stop. They reached the end, but they paid a heavy cost. By 1840, we cleared the east of native peoples. May they rest in peace. With guns and steel, the whites had their way. Now they set their sights on California. See, Mexico, as we know it today, is only a piece of where it used to lay. Back in the day, it included LA, but expansionists had something to say. According to them, it was part of God's plan to spread our culture all across the land. Our democracy was simply the best, so it's only right that we take the Southwest. Others spoke up, so let's take it slow. We need to respect the rights of Mexico, but James K. Polk took the reins. War broke out and more land was gained. New Mexico, Arizona, no we don't stop. Texas, no we don't stop. Man, it's destiny, it was meant to be. Colorado, no we don't stop. Nevada, no we don't stop. California, no we don't stop. We reached the Pacific, will it ever stop? Man, we came a long way since Jamestown. I don't think that Pacific Ocean's gonna stop us. Alaska, don't stop. Hawaii, don't stop. Guam, don't stop. The Philippines, don't stop. American Samoa, don't stop. The Marshall Islands, don't stop. Puerto Rico, don't stop. It keeps going, don't stop.
Pretty corny, I know, but it gave you some interesting ideas. It lets you know exactly how our manifest destiny goes. A lot of people think manifest destiny was just during that time period. It's not, it's still going on. How the United States conquered North America.
And remember, y'all just write the main ideas, okay?
Indeed.
What way?
Come on.
Y'all ready?
Yep.
Use it, maestro. American Progress. That's the name of this painting. Big woman in the center. She was kind of meant to evoke the Statue of Liberty, to make people feel patriotic about what they were doing, to inspire them, to get them hope. 1872, painted by John Gass. Write this down. You will see this in a lot of manifest destination areas. Columbia is the name of the woman. Never mind. A personification of the United States leads civilization westward with American settlers. I'm going to go back to this. Personification of the United States, it's a woman wearing a toga. Does she have a shield, a sword, or anything? No, she's wearing a toga. She doesn't have shoes on, she's barefoot. But this became to represent manifest destiny. She brings light from the east into the darkness of the west, bringing civilization to the savage land. Stringing telegraph wire as she sweeps west. You see it trailing from her hand. She holds a book that represents learning and knowledge. Remember, the Statue of Liberty holds a book also. The different stages of economic activity of the pioneers are highlighted, and especially the evolving forms of transportation. Stagecoach, trains, wagons, walking, horseback, everything you can think of. Hit the highlights and we'll move to the next slide.
Ready?
Remember, this was painted in 1872 about events that were going on in 1830, basically. 50-year difference is a painting of hindsight.
Ready to move on?
Yeah.
American exceptionalism. In the 19th century, manifest destiny was a widely held belief in the United States that its settlers were destined. Divine right. God wants me to do this, to expand across North America. There are three basic themes of manifest destiny. Special virtues of the American people. We're Americans. We can do no wrong. What we want to do is protected by God. The mission of the United States to redeem and remake the West in the image of agrarian America. They want to go west and redeem it, to make it civilized. They also want to convert the Native Americans to Christianity, to make them more civilized. But at the time, even though they wanted to make them Christian, they were never granted full United States citizenship rights. Agrarian America. At this time, the ideal of a rich person was still to be a gentleman farmer. Thomas Jefferson and others at that time were gentleman farmers. George Washington was a gentleman farmer. He actually made moonshine on his plantation and sold it to the public. An irresistible destiny to accomplish this essential duty. You're taught, as soon as the immigrants hit the East Coast, they're taught that they need to prove themselves as Americans. They need to go west and colonize and settle the frontier.
Don't
Just
nowadays,
talk.
don't nowadays, don't nowadays people gotta take a test to come to America? Like, go to other states?
Make it close so I can hear you, bud.
Like, don't people have to, like, in order to come to America and be a citizen, don't people have to take a test?
They can come in.
Like, what's on the test?
They ask stuff like,
Take a census.
yeah, well, they ask, they're asking about the citizenry test. Like what questions are it?
Citizenship test. You've seen it done in movie after movie where you have foreign nationals taking the citizenship test. Has anyone ever seen Stripes with Bill Murray? One of the guys, Bill Murray's friend, played by Harold Ramis. He goes to teach foreign nationals how to speak English so they can take the citizenship test. And he asked, does anyone in here know any English at all? I'm gonna use different metaphors. I can't say the exact words he said. One of them raises his hand and he says, SOB, fecal matter. That's all the English he knew. I have a brother-in-law that's a naturalized citizen from Mexico who married my sister. He's a college graduate at the University of Mexico, from Mexico City. Oddly enough, they don't recognize his college degree here in the United States, so that still tells you there's some Americanism against other nations going on. Y'all ready for the next slide?
Yes.
Coincidentally, how many people in here think that they can pass a citizenship test? I'll be honest, I'm not even sure I can pass it.
It's very hard. They ask questions like, how many representatives are in the House of Representatives?
We learned that.
I
know 13.
Oh my God. They ask, what's another question they ask?
You have to know the mayor of the town you live in.
Yeah.
You have to know the name of the coroner.
Tensions on
You know, all these facts you never think about surrounding you in your own city.
Major American holidays. You gotta know like when Veterans Day is.
Oh no.
Columbus Day.
Columbus Day.
I'm pretty good to be a citizen of my own country.
What about the 4th of July? Hey, don't you have to know the whole national anthem?
You have to know pieces of it, I think. You don't have to know the whole thing.
birthday.
Oh.
They ask you questions like, where is this line from? And it'll be like a line from the Star Spangled Banner.
I know they make a heart on purpose.
Declaration of the Constitution.
Yeah. Is it multiple choice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Typically, it's multiple choice.
America do the most, I swear.
That was so cute.
How to steal a continent.
The dark skin.
A continent is occupied by Native Americans. Technically, they own the continent, but not in the eyes of Europe. Europe has claimed the whole continent. You got the British in Canada, you got the French in Louisiana, and all the way north you got the Mexicans with Texas and California and so forth. Louisiana Purchase in 1803, write that down, was double the size of the United States. Very important. 13 colonies right here. The Louisiana Purchase, all of this. Got a lot of room to grow. Many began to see this as the beginning of a new providential mission, a mission from God. If the United States was successful as a shining city upon a hill, does anyone else know in history another nation that was called a shining city upon a hill? I'll give you a hint. It was supposedly founded by Romulus and Remus.
Rome.
Rome. Rome was the original shining city upon a hill. People don't realize that the entire city of Rome is built on hills. There's ups and downs, ups and downs. People in other countries will seek to establish their own democratic republics. Highfalutin ideals here. If I show what being American means to the rest of the world, they'll want to be American too. They'll want to act just like us, keep up with the Joneses. Remember the Louisiana Purchase week? Jefferson bought it from France for $15 million. Did the Native Americans actually living there see any of that money? No. You ever heard the story of the guy trying to sell the Brooklyn Bridge to a tourist?
What?
It's an urban legend. I don't know if it's true or not, but there's a tourist visiting New York City, and the guy comes up to him and says, I have the deed to the Brooklyn Bridge, and I'm about to go bankrupt. I'm willing to sell it to you for $10,000. It's worth $1 million. And the tourist, being a hick, said, yeah, I got it. Here you go. And he goes down to the city to transfer the title to his name, and he's like, you can't own the bridge, Brooklyn Bridge. It's owned by the government. So he's out $10,000.
Oh, he just
Shysters, con artists, con men.
That's unfortunate.
You'll find them all throughout history. This is basically a con on a national scale, with the loser being the Native Americans. Something important to remember is the main ports of call at this time from Europe, New York. One of the main ports, people came in, everyone has seen the Statue of Liberty where the immigrants come and say, oh, it's so beautiful, there are bright days ahead. The other one was Savannah. Mainly the British, Europeans, people of that area came to New York, and oddly enough, the French came to Savannah, or they went further around into the Gulf Coast, all the way over to Louisiana. Next slide, please. What about Native Americans? You notice I hit on this a lot. John Quincy Adams, the son of John Adams, Henry Clay, and Albert Gallatin, the former Treasury Secretary and leading expert on Indians. What makes him an expert on Indians? That's what the book says. He was an expert on Indians. Did he go and live with the Indians? Does he speak their language? No, it's probably just a position that he was granted so he could draw a government salary. They explained the American policy towards acquisition of Indian lands. The United States, and this is verbatim from them, the United States, while intending never to acquire land from the Indians, otherwise did peaceably. And with their free consent, no. Are fully determined, not at all. In that manner, no. Progressively and in proportion as their growing population may require. So the United States, they're saying at this point, if the Americans need this land for our citizens, we're going to take it and we're going to peaceably relocate you. There was no peace about it. To reclaim from the state of nature and to bring it to cultivation, they wanted to farm the area. Every portion of the territory contained within their acknowledged boundaries. Key word there, acknowledged boundaries. You'll find this comes into play a lot when discussing boundaries. Well, the county line stops here. No, it doesn't. It stops over here. There's been a battle going on in court in Macon and between Bibb County and Monroe County for the past 10 years, ever since they built Bass Pro Shop. Half of it is Monroe County, the other half is in Bibb County. They've been arguing about it for years. And to this day, neither Monroe County or Bibb County have received any tax profits from Bass Pro Shop until the case is finally settled. They keep moving the line back and forth. So even today, this is still an issue.
So Bass Pro don't have to give any taxes anyway?
And thus providing for supporting millions of civilized beings. Civilized beings. I have a responsibility to civilized beings more than I do to Native Americans, who I consider heathens. They will not violate any dictate of justice or of humanity. At the time, they meant it. They never really understood how fast immigrants were going to fill up the country. There was nowhere for them to go. There were no jobs. The labor force was very high, and the amount of jobs available was very low. So there had to be an incentive to get people to keep coming here and make the country bigger, stronger, faster. Let me know when you're ready for the next slide.
Remember, y'all can just do main ideas, so you can read the quote. I know it's kind of small, this one is. You mentioned these people, make sure you get those people. That's who created the policy.
The three authors of that policy.
Does the policy have a name?
There's a whole bunch of policies you hear about and called peace treaties. But the United States was constantly renegotiating the peace treaties, even if the Native Americans did not agree with the renegotiation. Ready? How to enforce the Monroe Doctrine. Remember, the Monroe Doctrine basically telling all of Europe and the rest of the world, stay off the continent, it's ours. But to prove it's ours, we have to occupy it. And his influencer,
Sorry.
1935 study of Manifest Destiny, Albert Weinberg wrote, the expansionism of the 1830s arose as a defensive effort to forestall the encroachment of Europe and North America. If I don't claim it, Portugal, England, France, Russia maybe, are going to come over here and claim it themselves. Because it's proven to be very easy to relocate the Native Americans. A race was in effect going on between the United States and Europe to see who would claim the continent first. This race would last for the next 50 to 70 years.
Yeah, we did that yesterday.
We ready?
She's asking, who is Albert Weinberg?
Albert Weinberg, he's just basically the author of the book, a historian, a history teacher. You know. He taught college, but I can't remember the name of the college he taught at. Anyway, he was a respected historian, so his words have some merit. Sorry, I'll research that better next time. key theme in most of the art I'm showing is you'll see they're either coming towards you or they're heading towards your left, which signifies west.
All right.
Oh, do I need to go back?
Yes, just a little bit.
Mr. Humphrey.
Nationalism. Look at that arm waving to the left, looking west. The first settlers, the first pioneers, pride in their country and their country's character. Patriotism, which is coming into full force at this time. What it means to be an American. An American can conquer any obstacle. Enable people to see the frontier as a way to prove themselves to America, to show that they were good enough to be American. Who's trying to prove they were good enough to be American? The immigrants. People coming in from Ireland, Scotland, England, all over. Germany. This was one explanation for westward expansion. As I said, the expansion drew immigrants. They would show up on the East Coast and be immediately challenged to prove themselves as Americans. The ones from foreign countries, a lot of them didn't speak English. They still found a way to prove themselves. That's why you'll find all throughout westward America small towns with German names or Polish names.
So what would they have to do?
Y'all talk too low. Speak up.
I said, what would they have to do to prove themselves?
Go out there and do it, and then write back, I did it. To settle it. And that way, when the government came out there and saw what you were doing, they said, yeah, you are an American. You did a great job. You owe us this much money in taxes now. I know, a little sarcasm. I think we hit the high notes. Can we move on? Music, please. The Indian Removal Act was passed by Congress on May 28, 1830, during the presidency of Andrew Jackson, who signed it into law 2 days later. Why did this happen? The western part of Georgia was the Cherokee Nation. There was a prospector who went into the Cherokee Nation and he found gold. And he went back to East Georgia and told everyone what he had found. But they could not go over there and mine the gold because it was in the Cherokee Nation. Money talks. They got involved with the government on the issue. So there's a lot of gold in West Georgia. We want it, but we can't have it. All right, we'll just make them leave. Then we can settle it. The law authorized the president to negotiate with southern Indian tribes for their removal to a federal territory west of the Mississippi River. At the time, the United States didn't think that it would ever move beyond the Mississippi River. So they said, hey, that's going to be your land, this is ours. In exchange for their ancestral homelands. The problem with this, the prospector found the gold in early fall. By November, at the beginning of winter, the President and Congress had already passed this law and said, you gotta leave. The Indians didn't agree, but they were forced to leave and march all the way to Oklahoma. A lot of them died on the way because they could only take with them what they had on their backs at the time. That enjoyed strong support from non-Indian peoples, obviously, of the South, who were eager to gain access to land inhabited by the southeastern tribes. See Cherokees right here, northwest Georgia, that's about near Stone Mountain, that's where the gold was found. The Creek Nation.
What movie is this on?
Horse
How many people in here even knew there was gold in Georgia at one time? Not that many? When we think of Georgia, we don't think of gold, we think of tobacco, we think of cotton.
We do have a lot of tobacco.
That slide will take another angle on this. And that slide is mainly about the law. Remember that date, Indian Removal Act, May 28, 1830. The whole reason it started was over gold. Not to say it wouldn't have eventually happened anyway, but that was their impetus for pushing it through so fast. There's money to be made. Like everybody's ready, I don't see them all right. Today, a president snubbed the Supreme Court. In today's society, if the Supreme Court rules on something and deposes the law of the land, everybody has to obey it, even the president. But at the time, the Supreme Court didn't have any teeth to back up its bar. The Supreme Court actually sided with the Cherokee. Jackson's response, John Marshall has made his decision. Now let him enforce it. You don't like it, what you gonna do about it? Come on, what you gonna do? In 1832, the case was called Worcester versus Georgia. The Cherokee Nation had employed the lawyer Worcester to represent them all the way up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court agreed with them that the Native Americans, the Cherokee Nation, all of them, they were sovereign nations and therefore not subject to the rule of the United States. The United States had no right to go in there and forcibly relocate a nation from their ancestral homelands. President Jackson did it anyway. Wrongfully Cherokee's sovereign nation status, wrongfully interfering with and intruding into a treaty relationship with the United States. All the treaties that the United States were filling out with the Native Americans at the time. Worthless. The United States would not back the treaties they signed.
Oh, you're waking him up to sleep.
I'm not waking him up. You come wake him up.
You can wake him up.
You got a suggestion, you wake him up.
How would you feel if someone came into your house that you lived with your mom, dad, brothers, and sisters, and there was a representative from Germany in there saying, we own your house now, you have to leave?
I'm gonna be like, you didn't build this house, you didn't stay here, you did not put money into this house, and you're not gonna do it.
Can't take anything with you, you just gotta go. Stop off. Today, if this happened, the Supreme Court could invoke the Military Act and actually have the military arrest the commander-in-chief and put him in federal prison until his trial back. It's a scenario that we debated in the college class. What the Supreme Court can do to a president today under such a circumstance. The president does not dare violate or go against the Supreme Court right now. They can find loopholes and go around it, but they can't directly confront them over it.
So if they were to go against it, they'd be put in prison.
Pardon?
If they went against the Supreme Court, they'd be put in prison.
Who would be put in prison? I mean, it'd be a golf resort prison, of course. He would be put in prison, held there. It would be a speedy trial. And because he would be declared incompetent because he was in prison, the vice president would take the oath of office. And he would remain president if the former president was convicted of violating the law, or he would go back to being vice president if the previous president was exonerated. That's never happened. Could have happened a few times, but the country didn't want the black eye. It would have given them with the rest of the world. Next slide. 5440 or 5. 5440. Longitude coordinates between Canada and present-day Oregon. Well, present-day Washington State. This is what it is now. This is where it used to be. This is where it is now. This is Washington State. So Oregon country was so big they cut it in half and made 2 states out of it eventually. But at the time it was still considered that. Advocates of Manifest Destiny call for the annexation of the entire Oregon country up to the Alaska line, 5440. James Polk, while running for president, used his popular outcry to his advantage. And let me, and I will get us that 5440. Why did they want so much of the Oregon land? What were they looking for? Remember on the Oregon Trail last week, what was the incentive for them to go through all that pain and misery? Gold. Money is the influencing factor again. The Democrats called for the annexation of all Oregon in the 1844 U.S. presidential election. England had been posturing with the United States over it. That's ours. We're not going to give it up. That's ours. But they saw that the United States was ready to go to war over it, and the French and Indian War wasn't that long ago, and they said, all right, just take it. This dispute being settled by the Oregon Treaty of 1846. With the Oregon Treaty, the northern part of the United States has been set pretty much. There's a few tweaks here and there later on, but not much that you can tell on a world map. Notice they call it British North America, but it's Canada, same thing. Canada actually has a sovereign nation in its own border called Quebec. Not Quebec, Ontario. I don't think that's right either. I'm going off on a tangent. Let me know when you got it all written down. You'll find that a lot of decisions made by governments are influenced by money or the opportunity to make money. They want the citizens to go there and mine that gold, and then they want to tax them. Anybody remember the Alamo?
Sorry.
Yeah, Texas. Fight.
You guys there?
That was right before the Civil War, wasn't it?
So wait, those to Marion. Oh, to Marion.
Hey, Cole. Draw a piece of paper.
Hey Cole, can I get the notes from the last slide? Can I get the notes from the last slide?
All right.
I don't see how you can read that from all the way back there. I tried to read earlier at that podium, I couldn't see the words. I had 20/20 vision.
If I take these off.
Remember the Alamo? Davy Crockett, John Bowie.
I can read it.
Everyone has heard the Davy Crockett song, Killed Him a Bear when he was only 3. Y'all don't hear that anymore? They played it all the time back in the 70s. It got stuck in your head. Anyone heard of the Bowie Night?
Yeah.
This is the Frontiers band that made it. He became popular because he always handmade his own knives, and they were huge. He didn't want a little dagger, he wanted a knife. Half a sword, basically. Manifest Destiny played an important role in the expansion of Texas and American relationship with Mexico. It's important to remember at this time, Mexico was just as powerful as the United States. They had about the same size military, the same size resources. So Mexico could actually stand up to the United States if the United States started saying, hey, we're taking this. No, you're not. In 1836, write these years down in the highlight, Republic of Texas declared independence. They were an independent sovereign nation from the United States in the beginning. Less than a year later, because they knew Mexico was getting ready to come up there and take it back from them, they applied for admission into the United States and were accepted. Now the United States had to help defend Texas against Mexico. After the Texas Revolution, something between the United States and the States, it was an idealized process of expansion. Well, yeah, sure we want you. After the election of Polk, but before he took office, Congress approved the annexation of Texas. At this time, this is Texas right here. Not the purple part, but the tan part. Polk moved to occupy a portion of Texas that had declared independence from Mexico in 1836, but was still claimed by Mexico. I have to catch up in my head. This paved the way for the outbreak of the Mexican-American War. Write that down. Why we had the Mexican-American War? Texas. On April 24th, 1846, with American successes on the battlefield by the summer of 1847, there were calls for the annexation of all Mexico, particularly among Eastern Democrats who argued that bringing Mexico into the Union was the best way to ensure future peace in the region. If they're part of us, we got no reason to fight. And you'll find in one of the next slides the reason that it doesn't happen. So at one time, the United States had the opportunity to expand all the way down to Central America. All of Mexico would have been split up to more states of the United States. Also, at another time, right after the French and Indian War, during that treaty, they offered Canada to the United States for sale, but the United States did not have enough money in the treasury to buy Canada. That's why Canada never became part. Think about this. This is 1836, less than 50 years after the nation was formed. Half the continent is now a part of it. A lot to write on that slide, I know. I'm sorry. The United States Army proved so successful against the Mexican Army that they actually go all the way down to Mexico City and occupy Mexico City and keep all of the politicians and elected officials under house arrest. They can't go anywhere without a United States soldier telling them. More than one, probably. Racism and manifest destiny. Racism is the reason why Mexico did not become part of the United States. Senator John C. Calhoun of South Carolina, who had approved of the annexation of Texas, was opposed to the annexation of Mexico, as well as the mission aspect of Manifest Destiny for racial reasons. He made these views clear in a speech to Congress. Write this down, January 4th, 1848. This is a speech. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to read it in the tone that he spoke it. We discussed this in my classes too. We have never dreamt of incorporating into our union any but the Caucasian race. Blah, blah, blah. We'll get into it more later.
Free white race, as opposed to the enslaved white race.
He sounds she was pretty.
Miss Bird's baby is a year old.
Wait, so she must have had
I just took 1 year old.
Well, if she was fat, her fat shoulder was like she was fat. Something can't grow like that.
She walk around like with maternity clothes.
Maybe she'll look at it in a dark light. It's hard after you have a baby. No, I should put like a hard cast pole. Polar. Some pole. Yeah, pole seed. I mean, pole. Marley is Marley wants to I don't know if that.
And then your body back. Your body been back.
Yeah, it is. I'm walking on this side.
She was ready. She had to be pretty.